Oh, hey, I didn't see you there. I was just finishing up an essay for our lit class that we have to do. It's about a book called Always Running by Luis Rodriguez. And, it's about his life on the streets as a gang member. And, as I'm reading this book, I find that he writes a lot about how criminality is a class issue. So me and my partner, Kate, took to the halls of East High School to find out what other people think. If two people commit the same crime, one of lower class and one of mid class, who will serve the longer jail sentence?
The lower class person.
Huh. I would like to say that it wouldn't matter between the two classes, but unfortunately, because our legal system is set up the way it is, I would be inclined to say the lower class person.
Well, I think in regards to the lower versus middle to upper class, I think historically speaking that the lower class citizen would serve the most jail time.
The lower class person?
The lower class person.
I think the lower class person will serve the longer sentence. The upper class person will serve the shorter sentence.
Why do you think that?
Because they would be more inclined to have a lesser representation in the eyes of the law.
Because, I don't know, their lives are valued less, I guess, because they're low class. Because it's like taken to a court, they don't have the money for like a good lawyer, and their word is just like tossed aside kind of because they're low class, and like classism exists. Low class people are uneducated, untrustworthy, etc. The same reason that like people of color are more likely to be persecuted for a crime than like non-people of color.
Probably because, it's just known that people of lower class tend to get punished more harshly than those who have more money or more resources.
Because that individual would lack the resources that the middle to upper class citizen would possess or have available. So oftentimes the lower class citizen is limited to a public defender or some sort of free legal representation that usually is not concerned with the best interest of the citizen. It's usually more of a status quo type of defense. Usually they're encouraged to take plea deals and things like that rather than actually fighting to defend the individual. So that would be usually the case with the lower class citizen due to those lack of resources. And those middle to upper class citizens usually have more resources at their disposal to acquire more, passionate or more successful legal representation. Usually, attorneys that have more of a relationship with high-level individuals within the justice system, so they're usually able to make some sort of agreement that is not as harsh to that of a lower class citizen.
Well, I think that lower class people are often punished more than people in the upper classes or the middle to upper classes.
I think because money talks. In America, money talks. Money buys you the best defense. Money persuades people to pursue or not pursue things as diligently as they might if you were poor and it was an easier target rather than a rich person who has a lot of clout. That's why I think that's the case. I think money buys the defense that you need and buys the attention that you might need to get the lesser sentence.
So do you think that criminality is a class issue?
Yeah, most definitely.
I think that over probably the last 40 or 50 years in the United States of America, we've made it a class issue. I think the nobility of our criminal system is set up that it doesn't matter, that maybe it doesn't see class, it doesn't see color. But the simple reality of with incarceration rates in the United States of America, it has certainly become a class issue.
Yeah, I think it definitely is because, like I said, those who have more resources, more money, more like they're upper class, they'll have more of an advantage. They'll have more connections. They'll know judges. They'll know lawyers. They'll know better lawyers. They'll be able to look for the better lawyers. So, yeah.
Criminality, I don't think it's that's an interesting question. A class issue or whether it's a socioeconomic issue. Those two could actually be the same thing, but I think socioeconomically, certain actions that would label one a criminal are more accepted or expected due to the environment that oftentimes people of low socioeconomic standing are, number one, born and raised into and exposed to, starting at young ages, whereas people from middle to upper class aren't usually born into those different types of environments, and if they're ever exposed to it, it's because it's usually a thrill-seeking sort of experience. So oftentimes I think the criminal aspect of it is often the result of circumstance, or oftentimes just where you're, wrong time or wrong place, or just kind of who you associate yourself with. So, you have great individuals who are getting their education and doing great things that are of low socioeconomic status, but one wrong mistake could end all of that. So oftentimes people who are in those positions don't normally have as much wiggle room as people who are from middle to upper class standing. So it's usually they have to walk more of a straight and narrow line than individuals who are from well-to-do backgrounds.
I think it is a class issue. I think it's a class issue as well as like a race issue, but I think that the lower classes are generally more populated by non-whites because of the systematic oppression that has been in place in many countries for the last hundreds of years. So I think that it's often a race issue as well as a class issue. Like in To Kill a Mockingbird, when the victim identified herself as like a rape victim, she was in the lower class, so people didn't believe her. And I think it can be said for the victim and for the perpetrator that people generally just label lower class people as being worse.
I think there's a respect issue. I think the respect issue is that the criminal justice system and the lawyer system and America's capitalism favors money. Okay, and if you are in a class where you have some money, life is easier for you. And if you're in a class that struggles with poverty, life is harder for you, and the consequences are harder because of that.
So in conclusion, from what I think from our findings is that criminality is a class issue, and that yes, the lower class is impacted most by this, belief, because they can't afford to get better lawyers, that they are, forced to take plea deals so that, instead of serving 15 years for something they didn't do, they only serve 3 for something they didn't do.